I did forget that Dana Delaney was in that. God damn, she back in the day too. Yeah, Bill Paxton, man, he's no longer with us. Yeah, remember I was saying earlier, Tombstone, this movie's like stocked with stars. Val Kilmer, Kurt Russell, Sam Elliott, Michael Biehn, Bill Paxton, sorry, Dana Delaney's in that movie, Jason Priestley, Powers Booth, Billy Bob Thornton. Good Lord, yeah, everybody's in this damn movie. Now I don't know why I leaned so hard on Jason Priestley there. That was me scrolling over, not realizing his name was going to be last. Sorry about that. But Tombstone had a ton of people in it, man. I might have to get my eyes on that one. Ghost in the Darkness, it's been a little while since I've seen that. The Doors movie, I've absolutely loved. I love that movie. I can't get enough of that. Even after having a bad run-in with the rest of the band, clearly not. With the rest of the band, I still that's a movie that honestly I may buy. Like, all right, if it's just the $4 Apple, well, here's your bread. I'll take it. You just get a fire stick and just be a thief and just be the people I hate? Yeah, absolutely. I don't want to turn into somebody I hate.
The Stansberry Show.
I just keep waiting for a lotto ticket out of my boring existence.
On Rock 106.9.
Welcome back to the program. Turns out Albert Greer agrees with you guys about what the Browns will do and not me. Take a look at that next time. Val Kilmer has dominated the last hour of conversation, passing away. Val did. Now, the official cause of death I'm seeing listed as pneumonia. That will often happen if you are suffering illnesses, and that will not normally, but it can happen commonly. We've been talking about plenty of roles he'd been in. Jay reminded me of one here. I didn't remember this movie, Thunderheart, 1992. Jay loves this movie, apparently. Wikipedia tells me that the plot, Leo Fast Elk, a tribal council member of a Native American reservation in South Dakota, is murdered. FBI agent Ray Lavoie, and that would be Val Kilmer, then assigned to the case for his mixed Sioux heritage. That might assist in the inquiry, and as they interview residents of the reservation, Agent Frank Cooch-Cattell narrows down the suspect list into Mag Eagle Bear, a peaceful Native American political activist and a school teacher, and Jimmy Looks Twice, leader of the radical Aboriginal rights movement, the ARM arm. There, I don't know if I have ever seen Thunderheart. We've been talking about some of these movies that Val Kilmer has been in, and that going back and watching them again would be like for the first time for me. Ghost in the Darkness. I know I've seen that movie. I remember exactly where I was when I saw it. I don't necessarily remember that movie. That would be like seeing that for the first time. Thunderheart, I'm not sure I have ever seen this movie. It doesn't sound familiar to me. The movie poster doesn't sound familiar to me. Let me see. It was produced by Robert De Niro, though. That seems noteworthy, if you will. We were talking actor, movie star, what is he? And it's tough, man, because I don't know if everybody knows why I'm mentioning it. There has been, people don't like the term movie star now. All right, here's the thing. This is what I mean. Terms when they come out aren't nice. We just learn to pick them up as a badge of honor and wear them, and they become something we love. The Brat Pack. That's not nice. They were telling those kids, yeah, it's a little too much attitude. Oh, too cocky for the movies you're in. Those are now the classics of your childhood. Right? There's a little bit of that kind of happens. Actor is one of those things I believe artists now would like to be referred to, and movie star is the Vin Diesels of the world. And in the 80s, and Val made a lot of his money back then, let's be honest, you could be an action star, and that's just it. We would get the actors to be in some of the actions. And yes, we always had the people who were solely movie star-ish and not real actors. We've always had those, too. That's been a thing. And the more I think about it, I think you got to put Val Kilmer in the actor category. I really do. Iceman was such a big role that it will be perceived as some of his biggest work. I think he'd be proud of that role and love to be part of that franchise, clearly. I don't think that's what he would maybe want to be known for forever. People forget that Doors movie and what that was when it happened. He was so good at Jim Morrison, you almost forgot it wasn't. he became Jim Morrison in a way that was like, how the hell did you do that? Beyond it. He sang in that so well that, I mean, it was story. I remember reading it in Rolling Stone. So much so that, like, the surviving members of the band were curious at times what they were listening to, Jim or him. I'm sorry. Like, if you can get that, if that can be true, you have ability. Now, that's a singing ability, and and now this will happen now. Well, I mean, how tough is Jim Morrison's singing style, really? I mean, just get out there, take a bunch of acid, talk about the poet, don't face the crowd, urinate on the first floor road. Not really, right? Because people who have never created any goddamn thing, now it's just easy to dismiss everything that's ever been made, you know? But I don't know, man. I think people forget what that role was and how that was received. Now, there were issues with that movie. And people did not like plenty to do with that movie. But if I remember correctly, and that's not like I remember every criticism, but I was there. It was a huge movie of my growing up and like my teen formidable years there or whatever, close there, just out of whatever. I was there for it. That, I don't remember all the criticism, but most of the pushback that movie got is what most of Oliver Stone's movies got. That Oliver kind of likes to be like, this is the way I wanted it to be. And he kind of likes to sprinkle that in there. You could look at JFK with that. I mean, Oliver kind of likes to be Oliver, and that's fine. That's fine. You know what I mean? He's a great filmmaker, or at least once upon a time was. Don't tell a 19-year-old that now. Oof. Man, they do not like Oliver Stone. Maybe some of you don't know. That's a whole thing. that 16 to 19-year-olds cannot stand Oliver Stone. Hate him. That's a whole thing on the internet that I found that out about a month and a half ago. I was like, wait, he's not good anymore? Since when? And I didn't know that. But I love that Doors movie. And I thought, and Val was so good in that, I think you got to really get into actor territory there. I just don't think there's another way around. I'm not sure you get a performance like that. And Doc Holliday, right? He outpaced everybody in Tombstone. And I think that's tough to do when you go back and look at everybody who was in that movie.
The Stansberry Show.
And look what you've become, a schmuck.
On Rock 106.9.
Yeah, that one was me. I'm supposed to press manual, and I did not. And then I brought us back, and multiple things played. That was me being bad. I mention that because there are people listening from the company, because we had some tech issues this morning that were not my fault. And so they are monitoring the program since and seeing how it sounds and how do we transition in and out of segments and the like. I did a poor job at that one, fellas. That one was all me there. Good news, Browns fans. Apparently, the team will not be listening to me, and they will be listening to you. Watching Albert Breer yesterday, NFL Insider, works at Monday Morning Quarterback. And he's written articles plenty of places. He's an Ohio State Buckeye, by the way. So if anybody, right? I bet you like him now, right? Yeah, I bet you like Albert. And he said, yes, Stansberry's an idiot. I may have misquoted that part, but like he was talking about how the Browns are not going to take Shedeur Sanders at 2. He thinks you're actually going to watch Shedeur Sanders actually drop pretty hard come draft night. Not necessarily because nobody thinks the kid is any good, but it's about need now and where people are drafting. He thinks you're going to see a Bo Nix situation happen with Shedeur. Those of you that watch a little bit more NFL than some others, you kind of know. Bo was like, maybe this kid, and he kind of fell a little bit and found a pretty good home with Sean Payton, and the Denver Broncos had a pretty good year there. And so a lot of people now, Albert being one of them, kind of feel like that's what's going to happen with Shedeur Sanders, is that he's not the kid you take it to because he's so good you can't pass up on him. But he's good enough where if he falls to a team like that who kind of has the right coach, kind of using him the right way, maybe has the right, staff around him already, maybe a little bit of a better team already, that he may be a little bit, better, fit for that situation. It's fair enough. And so Albert believes that what a lot of you believe, that what they'll do is take Abdul Carter out of Penn State and help Myles Garrett. Now all of a sudden your defense is what you're talking about. Now we've been talking about this quarterback situation with the Cleveland Browns for a while, and what have we been saying? It's like, well, you got Lamar Jackson and Joe Burrow not in the AFC, they're in division. Like, you got to figure out how to win. So you got to get special quarterback. And there is a really good argument. What people are now telling you, and plenty of them, and plenty of you already have said, well, yeah, but neither one of these guys are special at quarterback. So what you do is, let's get Miles some more help, and we'll try to at least contain these guys. And at least if we can do that, then maybe the quarterback doesn't necessarily have to be world beater special. If we just kind of get to, like, pretty good, maybe you can do that. You sprinkle in a little. Kirk Cousins was in town recently, and at the Chipotle's and the like, double chicken and the salad never fails. Apparently, that's the big Kirk order there. And now the Browns leadership did not meet with him. They said we have no idea what he's doing, or we don't know. But the theory is now that what you do is you wait for the draft to be over. I guess how Albert was saying this, and you work out a deal, and you find Kirk Cousins. I think the time to go to that guy was when he went to Minnesota. When Atlanta picked him up, it was like, oh my God, man, that roster might not be bad. Let's see, dude. What are we gonna do? And yes, you got Michael Penix Jr. right. We'll see. But it's like, man, maybe Kirk, one more run, right? Maybe one more. Season started out pretty good. We started to look around, be like, I gotta tell you, this Kirk fella, it's might not be bad. And then towards the second half of the season, you start playing more outdoor games, and the arm didn't necessarily. The performance didn't look as good. And the problem with quarterback, man, is it's fast. Ask Peyton Manning. It went from, what the hell do you mean? Dude, Peyton Manning to, oh, jeez. Jeez, dude, get him off. This is bad. This is hard to watch. I don't want to watch this. This is sad. Overnight. People are worried about that with the Aaron Rodgers thing. It's like, do I feel better about an aging and maybe washed Kirk Cousins than I do Kenny Pickett? Well, yes. But I've been so damn wrong lately on this whole situation. Is not going to make anybody feel any better? Probably not, including me. But they're starting to say now, look the other way. This is not going to be. I was making it about the fact that they're talking Brook Park. They're talking that apartment complex. The pricing of that apartment, multiple apartment complexes, got leaked. There's a guy who was a little curious. Well, let's see what might be happening in the Cleveland real estate market. Let's see, Justin. Let me see here. It's 2100 Brook Park. Come on, man. Dude, that is Brook Park. It is 2100, and it's always that's the stadium. It's going to be because the steakhouse isn't going to be in downtown anymore. It's going to be right where the Browns are. There's a problem with that. And I thought, okay, well, if you're Jimmy and you're doing that, you're going to want your quarterback. But you know what a buddy of mine said to me yesterday? You're right about all that. Damn, that stadium's not going up in a day. He's like, if you draft Shador and the kid doesn't have it, and now you're trying to do that, and you still don't have the guy, now, man. I was like, okay, that's a fair argument. It's at least a side of the argument I did not bring into the room, and it's fair enough. That is fair. Because let's be honest, it's not like these teams have patience now for these kids. Especially after you've made a little bit of money in college.